welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic. For today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Titans Returns Bumblebee. Now, just like Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, and a few others, we're always going to get a new incarnation of Bumblebee. It's just inevitable. But what I like about this guy is his overall size compared to some of the other bigger Transformers. If you remember correctly, Bumblebee was actually one of the smallest Transformers in the Generation 1 cartoon, so it's kind of nice to see that he's been shrunken down a little bit, and he does feel like kind of the underdog in any fight with the Decepticons. Now, he doesn't quite remind me of the original Generation 1 toy, well, mostly because I never had that original figure, but I did have the original Transformers not Power Master, Pretenders, a lot of P's. Anyways, he reminds me a little bit more of the Pretenders version of Bumblebee, and you can see that they're almost exactly the same height too, just slightly off. So to me, it's a little bit more of an updated version of this guy. Now, this Bumblebee is actually a pretty good figure. There are some little issues, mostly with all this kibble right here on the side of his arm. So it is a little bit big and awkward and kind of hinders his posability in some cases. He has some good head articulation right here. It can move side to side. It can't move up and down, but when you get heads this small, to get a ball joint in there would just be a little bit overkill and possibly pop off if you're not careful. His shoulders can kind of move up and down, so you can almost have him shrug if you really wanted to. And they're on a nice ball joint, so you get some good range of articulation right here. Minus what I said earlier about the little kibble right here. His arms are on this nice ball joint, so you get good range of articulation right here. There is no waist swivel, however, you get a good hip swivel right here in the arms, or the hips can move up and back. Nice knee bend, and a little bit of an ankle bend if you really want to consider that, but that's really part of the transformation. Now, one of my issues with this guy is I wish he actually came with a weapon. That would have just kind of been a little bit cool. Just some little stubby gun or some little pistol that he could use to shoot Decepticons with. I guess the idea with this first wave of these guys is you were going to stick the little Titan Master vehicle guys over here, but the thing is that the vehicles are so big, they make them top heavy and they want to fall forward unless you actually have them kind of pretending to dual wield or hold it with both hands. Still, I just wish he had some sort of little gun that he could have came with. The other thing too is his wheels kind of stick out on the bottom of his feet, so it does make posing a little bit awkward if you're not careful. Thankfully, there's enough space right here to where he does balance quite well. Now, to transform this guy, we're actually going to take his arms, fold them around like this, move his head forward, and rotate this piece back like this, move the front part of his car up, flip this around, and then we're going to take his arms, fold those up like so, get everything locked into place. I will say that I do have some issues with his transformation as well, just because there's a lot of panels that need to fold into each other, so it can be a little tricky to get everything in there, or at least for me anyways. It just fit this right in here. Make sure that all snaps into place, make sure that's there, that's good. Going to bring his feet forward like so. And then we're going to want to make sure that these two little slots slide right into right here. Move his legs down, fold them in kind of accordion ways, and then this is where it's kind of hard to get it all into place. I've transformed this guy a few times and it's always been a little tricky. Fold these down, and there you go. He's now in his cute little vehicle mode, and he is quite adorable. There is some paint difference between the hood of his car right here, or I should say the top part of his car, and the actual yellow plastic, but if you're looking at him at a glance, it's not that noticeable. He rolls actually pretty nice, and considering that I've always said that this table isn't really the best, or it's not completely flat, seeing him roll this smoothly is actually pretty good. Now, just like all other Titan Returns figures, you can actually open him up and have a little cockpit right here for him to drive in. So I'm going to stick this little Titan Master guy in there. There you go, so he could be driving around inside Bumblebee. However, I do feel it's kind of awkward just to move these pieces all the way around like this, just to open it up. It feels like you're almost it's almost like you're untransforming him or transforming him back into his robot mode to get that little guy in there. Still, all in all, he is actually a pretty good figure, despite all the little paneling right here where you can see where all of his pieces come together. Another little detail that I noticed while I was filming this is you can actually see a nice little license plate right there on the back of his car mode right there. So that's actually a nice little detail that they wanted to add in. I would say, yeah, he has his few little upsides and downsides, but he's still a pretty good figure, and if you can still find him on the toy shelves, I would recommend trying to pick him up. Anyways, this has been a look at Transformers Titans Returns Bumblebee.
Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below in the comment section. Any advice for the show will be greatly appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the show in the future.